Stoughtonite. Welcome to another episode of Lioness You on the Watch. Today we're going to talk about the South School project. Just to give a refresher, the South Elementary School project off of Park Street failed. The project was a 3-story, exorbitantly priced at $904 a square foot, 3-story building in the woods. It's literally a Taj Mahal, and it is over-designed, which is creating the $904 per square foot pricing. That is the same issues. It's essentially the same $114 million project with all the same issues that the taxpayers voted no to. So the design is having multiple angles. They're calling it a pinwheel design. Really, it's just multiple angles coming off the building, which is causing increased roofing, framing, sheetrock, and foundation costs just because of the design alone. As you'll hear later, the other issues with the project is there is still only one fully functioning road entrance into the property in the woods. It will require a bridge into the woods. The project still has not acquired Fano Drive because it, according to which you will also hear in a little while, the cost to obtain Fano Drive and the cost to make that road a functioning road, which would run from Park Street all the way to Sumner Street, is exorbitantly priced, so that the whole cost would cost near another $20 million.
The building committee cannot swap land, but does Fano Drive get put back into discussions? There's a cost, and the cost that those of us that were involved know that the cost is not realistic. Plus adding the work. I think it's really, really important for our professionals to really have those deep discussions with MSBA about what truly are the routes that we can take with this. And then the building committee, your work, that I, of course, will support, and I believe the school committee may be joining you on the 20th as well. How do we change this? I mean, it's the politics of education are always interesting, but 600 votes in a local vote is not 100 votes. That's a lot of minds to change. And I'll be very honest, I don't think there is a number for a population of folks on this. I just don't think there is. It's a hard no. So the question becomes, what is that number? And how do we get 77% of more people to vote?
There is still no solution to what's going to happen to the South School building. There is no money set aside to demolish the South School building, nor does it address the fact that the children from the Wilkins School will lose their neighborhood school. It also does not address the fact that the Jones School, which we spent millions of dollars rehabbing it so that it could be administrative offices and a preschool for children in town, now they want to throw all that money away so they can move all that over to the Wilkins School. I don't know where everybody plans on getting the money, and neither does the taxpayers. The taxpayers want to live within the means of our town budget, and that leads me to another problem, how this project is going to be paid for. I'm going to play a clip for you with regard to this being a debt exclusion as opposed to being paid inside the budget.
Where is it in the rules of MSBA that says the only way to fund the town portion is with debt exclusion? Is there a mandate that says the only way the town's portion can be funded is with a townwide vote?
There's no regulation that says that. I will say this. The article itself contemplates that this is a debt exclusion.
No, that's not my question.
No,
yeah.
Let me finish, please. Yes or no, The policy of how the town pays for that, whether it's inside the budget or as a debt exclusion in future years, once that's authorized, is entirely up to the select board, town meeting, or whoever else.
It is. So that isn't a mandate. There's no mandate from the state.
No, but the article would have been different.
Oh, no, I'm not saying that. But articles, obviously motions change. People come up with alternate motions all the time.
What I'm saying is, if this wasn't going to be a debt exclusion, the text of the article would have had to have been different. It's a yes, for MSBA, it's a yes or no question. A debt exclusion is authorized. How the town deals with it on its end is entirely up to policy.
That's what I'm asking.
Right.
All right. So we had people throughout town, past officials, current officials in the town, floating different ideas. Some of them have to do with a split, similar to what happened with the fire station. Other ideas have to do with reducing the levy in order to offset some of the pain that people are feeling, that we can lower the levy, maybe put some of that money into debt service, especially when our debt service fell below, probably by now, under 2%. It was at 2.5% exactly this time last year. So if there's debt service capacity, what would be preventing us from moving in that direction? If there's capacity and revenue, projected revenue, why are we putting the entire burden on the taxpayer when clearly the MSBA doesn't care? Because it's your problem, not theirs.
Well, we're not.
No, not you. I mean you, the town of Stoughton. I apologize for how I
If
said
that's
that.
a policy decision in later years, that's entirely up to the policy boards.
Well, that's relevant in this discussion, in this hearing, isn't it?
But we don't determine it, though.
Well, we're having a hearing.
No,
right.
but for the article and the appropriation, we're just looking for an appropriation. And the appropriation carries with it contemplating a debt exclusion. How that's paid for in future years is up for discussion by, again, the policymakers. We have no say in that.
Right.
Okay, so there you have it. Let me unpack just in that few minutes what's going on there. You have a building committee and subsequently a working group who is basically building and designing a school with zero policies guiding the cost of that school. That is the overwhelming objection, in addition to the issues I pointed out a few minutes ago, with this project, okay? You will see there is capacity within the budget to pay for this school based on projected revenue. We, at the special town meeting and at the annual town meeting, there are articles, which are spending articles, which could put forth a request to actually pay for this school. What is happening is a refusal by town leaders and the building committee to recognize that there is a design that would meet the educational needs of the children that would fit within the budget. And it would prevent a city-like school at an exorbitant price being put squarely on the shoulders of the taxpayers. So I just wanted to point out this. I'm sure people are familiar with this. This is a presentation or project budget that has been distributed by Vertex in the school. This is the original one. They have come up with, 2 to 3 of these, and in each version, they're manipulating the price. Just keep in mind the project is still $114 million, and that these prices can be manipulated every time. They're trying to reduce it, tell you that the project is going to cost less than it actually is going to cost you. This project cannot be seen in a bubble. It has to be seen in all the other capital projects that are not being presented to us in any semblance of an order or timing or pacing of debt. The leaders want, you, the taxpayer, and town meeting reps to vote on every article in a bubble, and we cannot let that stand. This is an effort to keep the taxpayers in the dark, and we have too many people, leaders in town, rubber stamping something that is not in the best interest of taxpayers over time. This has been the argument for the no vote all along. They absolutely want a new school, and we have heard everything but the leaders putting forth that solution. So I want to bring up in November, we had a special town meeting to ask the select board to get the ballot question in place. And the working group that was put on by the town manager put out a summary executive, which we're going to put up here on the screen. It's basically, this is their working group is acknowledging in the first paragraph that the South Elementary School is in disrepair and that it would need to close in 1 or 2 years. But in the very next sentence, they're saying if the MSBA accepted project passes, that the school could remain open to 2029 and 2030. That would give the school the time to build a reasonable, far less expensive school, neighborhood school and South School. And the Wilkins kids could keep their own elementary school, and the South School could have a far less expensive school that the town can actually afford. When this is their own document that they put out in November, it is contradictory. Everything they have done is change the numbers in their project, trying to convince the taxpayers to push this over-designed, overpriced school through. They are trying to urbanize Stoughton, and the taxpayers want to keep Stoughton a humble suburban town that it is. And they are driving this city-like adventure by going after every subsidy that they possibly can bring to town. And that is not helping our students. What that is actually doing is that is causing an urbanization, and nobody wants a city-like school in Stoughton because the metrics show that city-like metrics are below 50%. We already have below 50% metrics in reading, writing, arithmetic, and science here in Stoughton. We have to be focused on the curriculum of excellence for our students and not darn good buildings that are overpriced and overdesigned. Here's the metrics right here on the screen, and you can see in every single category, Stoughton is below 50% in expectations and standards. We need to be focusing on getting our students to excellence level and not focused on these over-designed city-like buildings. So back to the steps that have been going on that is trying to create an overcrowded city here in Stoughton is to start accepting state subsidies greater than local taxes to run your schools. It is attracting high needs in low-income families, and it's creating a dependency on the state. And again, back to the metrics, it is not sustaining the excellence that our students and our parents deserve. And all we are doing is attracting more and more overcrowding in this district. And what are they doing? They're appointing building committees that are hell-bent on designing projects that are breaking the bank. And the design of this school that they're trying to have a re-vote on is doing just that. And they're ignoring the voters. After common sense prevails at debt override elections, send the select board chairman up to the State House to lobby for extending the grant period to create a re-vote of the rejected project, and make sure the chairman has zero authority from other select board members while lobbying to overturn an important election. This is not working in the best interest of taxpayers. The next steps that were done is they started a working group with open public participation, and they blocked cameras from recording the meetings, which showed that if you build it, they will come. Who will come? More urbanized students, low income, and high needs students. They kept the working group as a pro-MSBA, anti-taxpayer as possible without allowing First Amendment rights of our citizens to see the bias within this group. Then their next step is they attack anybody who is looking to point these flaws out in the design and the overtaxation of the taxpayer. There is no capital plan, there is no roadmap for all the other projects that need to get done. We have a select board chairman who, before the special town meeting on February 3rd, sent out a notice that, hey, people who legally obtained petitioned articles so they could discuss why projects are being built with an exorbitant price tag is because there's no policies in place, comprehensive policies in place that is guiding. We had the chairman of the select board who was part of the original building committee, and we never heard him report back on the design and excessive cost of the project. There was no budget given to the building committee. That is why the original building committee for the fire station had to be let go. So that is what we are looking to have done here. We'll play the video of a town meeting rep laying the question on the table so that we couldn't even debate.
Madam Moderator, I would like Carolyn Campbell, Precinct 4. I would like to make a motion to lay this on the table.
So what that town meeting representative did was work in collaboration with the chairman of the select board to actually prevent the debate or the presentation of how we could build a local elementary school that could fit within the budget so that the parents of the South School area could get a new South School and the taxpayers could afford it. We have projected revenue that can more than pay for this. And as you heard TJ say in that finance committee meeting, there is plenty of debt capacity within the budget coupled with revenue that could pay for this new school. So all that's really happened since June and the February 3rd vote is a campaign by leaders of this town to literally attempt to scare parents that the only solution, if this Taj Mahal project fails, is to have modular classrooms at every school in Stoughton. That is an outright refusal to identify the actual solution, which would be to build a new reasonably priced school at a reasonable square footage that keeps Stoughton a suburban town. They are refusing to do that. They could do it one of two ways. They could submit a new statement of interest to obtain MBSA, Massachusetts School Board, MSBA, School Board Authority approval, or, as we said, we could pay for the smaller school within the budget. So I'm going to show you another reason why the taxpayers are furious with the leaders' lack of consideration for the taxpayers. We're going to play the Heidi video clip here. Now, mind you, this is preparing for the upcoming budget, and this government is just trying to do a money grab at all times of taxpayer dollars instead of working on behalf of the taxpayers, as this clip will show you.
And if I could add on to that, when I put out the budget templates to all the budget makers, I actually added a tab this year that they didn't have in the past, where we basically said, please put down all of your needs, don't hold back whatever it is.
Okay, right there. That is an example. Don't hold back whatever it is. Are they serious? That is so they can grab more money instead of letting it come into the general fund and we can put it toward capital projects. Okay, we have infrastructure. We keep talking about transparency, and yet they would not allow us to separate getting a capital plan from other expenditures in the budget. Extra cots, telephones, which wasted taxpayers' money the first time around. The school with the budget, the one change they're trying to make is to eliminate the project manager and have all the risk of the project go onto the taxpayer. This is a horrible idea given the fact that the new high school's auditorium, curtain, and lights, they also went to go and put on and spend an article to the tune of $421,000. And they didn't even, they weren't going to blink an eye and ask the taxpayer to fund it, at which case most of the current town meeting reps would have automatically funded that until they started getting pushback such as this show is trying to bring to light. They then realized maybe we should do some due diligence. I would suggest that they not keep adding a new tab saying, whatever it is at taxpayer expense, let us eat up all the revenue. It is not government's money, it is the taxpayers' money. So please, in closing, please do not forget to vote no on April 8th and look for in the upcoming weeks, starting the week of March 12th, in the Suburban Shopper, the advertisements that point out further reasons why we should be voting no on this South School project and be demanding our leaders take the taxpayers in mind and stop voting on capital projects in a helter-skelter manner and have an organized plan. Thank you for joining me here on Lioness and You on the Watch, and I'll see you next time.